afternoon, race fans, and welcome here as we get set for our 19th race of the season for the NNSCRA Hershey's Cup Series. Getting set to cap off what's been a very interesting weekend here at the Glen. Maybe not the most exciting weekend we've had in past history in the Hershey's Cup Series season, but still some pretty interesting fuel strategies been going on here in the last couple of days, and expecting no less here today. 23 laps of racing here, so an extra 5 laps from what we had in the Pizza Hut X Series here yesterday. And lined up on the pole is K Tsang in the 28. Now, the reason that this is so important with K Tsang lined up on the pole, one thing we've seen is that track position seems to be a huge thing here at the road courses. And K Tsang is trying to get herself into the top 30 in the point standings to have her current win so far this season back at Eldora count towards a spot in the chase for the championship. Right now, K Tsang is 37th in the points, still has about 200 some odd points to make up to be able to even get to the 30th position in the standings, so a second win would certainly help her out here today. Alongside of her, J Srigley in the 24. Now Srigley coming into this race is 34th in points, a former winner this season. He'd love to have a second trip to victory lane in his goal of trying to get up inside of the top 30 in the point standings. And then you look behind them, you got Benjamin Miles, has been having such a dismal season. Look for his first win of the year, as is former champion of this series, C Dodd. They are rolling off from 3rd and 4th. Track position seems to be key. We'll see if it plays in their favor, but for now, we're going to go down trackside and get the command to fire them up.
Drivers, start your engines!
There is the command. We will get ready to complete a pace lap here before turning them loose for 23 laps of racing, and as has been the case this entire race weekend, we will be running it without any aid of yellow flags. As you're looking now at your current chase points coming into this race, James McCloud, D Poteet still up at the top with 2 wins apiece. Poteet coming in as the points leader by 14 points over J Arndt, Anthony McCrury, Levi McIntyre, James McCloud. That is your top 5 in the points standings. 3 drivers in the top 10 in points without a win yet this year. McIntyre 5th in points as mentioned, as well as Joshua Michaels 8th in the standings and Zachary Fitzwater 9th in the standings. Fitzwater starting off from the 6th position here today, so we'll keep our eyes on the 76, looking for his first trip to victory lanes. A lot of drivers actually up here at the front that are looking for their first trip to victory lane. We mentioned Miles and C Dodd, well, Fitzwater as well as the Seth Cole Baker Motorsports, I should say, Fords. They're rolling off 7th and 8th of Cole Baker and Sean Gallighan. Brooke Allen there in the 3, rookie trying to win in her first season, and K Tellier, the defending winner of this race. As a matter of fact, she won 2 road courses last season in Finian and Watkins Glen, and this today marks the 1-year anniversary of K Tellier's last trip to victory lane in a Hershey's Cup Series race. So if K Tellier is unsuccessful in going to victory lane here today, she will be getting a 36 race plus winless streak heading into next week. Hopefully these guys are going to get not get road course racing out of their system, because next week it's going to be just the Hershey's Cup Series chartered rides at Thornton, home to the Turn of Death. So more road course racing on the horizon for these Hershey's Cup Series drivers. We mentioned the top 5 in the point standings coming to this race. Cody Llamas, last week's winner at the Springfield Mile at the Illinois State Fairgrounds, is now jumped up 4 spots to 6th in the standings. Trent Dunham, Joshua Michaels, Zachary Fitzwater, and Jessica Shelton complete your top 10 in the points coming into this race. And of course, you saw all those other names of former winners this season that right now would be inside the top 30 in the points and would have slots currently in the chase for the championship. This is only, as I said, our 19th race of the season. 7 more races after this, 8 races if you include today. Plenty of opportunity for drivers to still work their way into the championship picture before our regular season finale at M&M Superspeedway. 23 laps, it'll be split into 3 stages. Completion of lap 7 is the end of stage 1, completion of lap 14, the end of stage 2, and the checkered flag at the completion of lap 23 is the end of our 3rd and final stage. K Tsang and J Srigley will get us underway here at the Glen. Our NSRA split cameramen will be on hand to be able to cover any action that takes place in terms of wrecks and whatnot during the course of this 23-lap event. If trouble breaks out, they will break in as Up front, C Tsang was able to take the top position. The inside line moved. First, third, fifth, now first, second, third, heading through the S's. Tsang, Miles, and Shelton. J Srigley, who started outside the front row, now battling for fourth, will lose that spot now to S Gallighan. Through the dog leg, the bus stop, whatever you want to call it, into the carousel. Benjamin Miles getting a nice run through the carousel. He may be side by side with C Tsang coming down the straightaway. Trying to get to the outside line, couldn't quite get there. Tucks back in line in second. Long ways to go in this thing, so Benjamin Miles doesn't have to really use up his stuff just yet. But he wants to keep the pressure on that 28 car, that's for certain. Oh, trouble in the back there, one car in the wall. That's K Tellier. The Lincoln getting the wall off the final corner, but was able to keep it straight, keeps going. K Tsang, we talked about how she comes into this race still a long ways back from that 30th position in the point standings. Well, if she can dominate here today like we've seen happen here this race weekend, we saw LaPlante do it in the Hershey's Cup Series non-charter race here a couple of days ago, and Andra Baranskis do it in yesterday's Pizza X Series event. Well, those would be valuable bonus points, valuable stage points that K Tsang could pick up if she can dominate today's event. Battle is on for third. That's between S Gallighan and Jessica Shelton. Gallighan tried to make the move. He's going to try again here. Tries to get a run through the carousel. They will be side by side. Coming out of the exit of the carousel. Chris Dodd back there in the 88, side by side for the 5th position with J Srigley. I think he just took that spot. You know, you think back, and Chris Dodd's last victory in the Hershey's Cup Series, believe it or not, actually came at a road course. It was at Mid-Ohio back in Season 2. So he knows how to get around the windy tracks, and right now up inside the top 5. Benjamin Miles still all over the back bumper of K Tsang. I mean, you look at these two drivers. We talked about K Tsang getting the charter from the 33 team, Joshua Sekuli, now down to the non-charter series, trying to get that 28 up into the top 30 in the points to have her Eldora win count towards a spot in the chase for the championship. Well, you look at Benjamin Miles and you look at the last couple of years he's had. Last season went to victory lane twice, once during the chase, once before the chase, but was outside the top 30 in the points, so that win before the chase didn't count towards a spot inside the 16 slots in the chase for the championship. This season, it's been even worse. No trips yet to victory lane, and he finds himself currently situated 33rd out of the 35 chartered race cars in the standings. Now, the better news for Benjamin Miles, as opposed to K Tellier, the gap between Benjamin Miles and the guy who comes in 30th in the points, which right now is former winner L Alvarise, is a mere 12 points, which means Benjamin Miles, if he can go to victory lane here today, it's not out of the mathematical spectrum as Fitzwater hard into the wall back there off the course. Someone else just slammed it as well, but they're keeping it straight, keeping it going. But it's not out of the realm of impossibility that Benjamin Miles, with a trip to victory lane today, might not work his way into the top 30 in the point stands. Well, as a matter of fact, even just thinking about it here, I mean, if he can run ahead of L Alvarise, J Gardner, and Chris Dodd, he's got a chance of being in the top 30 in the points when we leave Watkins Glen, regardless of if he goes to victory lane or not, if he continues to run where he is. Because you think of the fact that if he can be in the top 10 at the completion of laps 7, 14, and 23, he's going to get valuable stage points. But he has not relented off the back bumper of that 28, who gets into the grass off that exit, and that might allow Benjamin Miles to have a little bit better exit. He's going to try to the inside again through the carousel. Battle for the lead is on one more time here at the Glen. Last time by, K Tsang had Benjamin Miles cleared. Not this time. Miles going to hang tough, tries to swing around on the inside. Can't do it yet, still side by side. K Tsang gets wide off the corner, gets on the rumble strips, and the lead will change to Benjamin Miles. C Llamas has been having a great season. He finds himself, as mentioned, 6th in the point stands. He went to victory lane last week at Springfield. So now you got to think maybe NW Racing is going to pool a lot of their efforts into this 25 team, try and get both NW Racing cars into the chase for the championship. Last season they were a 2-car team, and both entries went to victory lane last year. C Llamas at Dover, Benjamin Miles going to victory lane at, I believe one was at Bristol Dirt, and I think his second win was later on at the penultimate race at Talladega. Jessica Shelton has now jumped into second. Caitlin Tsang, boy, when she slipped from the lead, she has really slipped. She's now back to the fourth spot and may lose more. Here comes Chris Dodd and Matt Haas, 3 wide out of the carousel. Couple of teammates there from CJ Racing. Caitlin Tsang in the 28, team owner Chris Dodd in the 88. Running now in the 4th and 5th positions as Benjamin Miles begins to pull away. Gallighan right there in 3rd. We know his road course racing expertise. There's the 78 of Matt Haas, former winner this season. Been very good in that Toyota Camry out of Furniture Row Racing. Matt Haas coming into this race, currently situated 26th in the points. He's one of those few drivers that come into this race with a win but are down near the danger zone. Matt Haas 26th in points, and we just mentioned a while ago L Alvarise all the way down to that danger zone area of 30th in the point standings. Look at Sean Gallighan cutting right through the grass, trying to get the 3rd position back away from Caitlin Tsang. That is a dangerous way to exit the bus stop. A lot of drivers try it, and a lot of times they end up wrecked into the carousel. But Gallighan made it work. And it looks like he will hang on to 3rd. Whoa, got a little squirrely there, though. Caitlin Tsang stuck on the high side at one point off the final corner, got on the rumble strip and lost a spot. That was the lead at the time. Looks like she will lose 3rd place back to Sean Gallighan, and here comes Chris Dodd. Battle is on for 4th. Lap 7 going on the board. Next time by is the completion of our first stage. And right now, the last driver that holds a stage point position is right there, Zachary Fitzwater in the 76. Fitzwater running behind Zach Flickinger. Flickinger, a former winner at a road course back, I want to say it was season 2 at Yas Marina Circuit. It might have been season 1, but I think it was season 2. And just ahead, we talked about Jessica Shelton having a good run in 2nd place. There's her teammate Charles Sandfer. Good run there for the Reese's Pieces Chevrolet, our winner from Las Vegas earlier on this year. Benjamin Miles has entered into a different zip code as the battle for 2nd begins to heat up between Shelton and Gallighan, and you gotta wonder when these drivers are gonna have to come to pit road. Now, we ran, I believe it was 14 laps in the Hershey's Cup Series non-charter race here a couple days ago, and they were able to make it the entire 14 laps without having to come to pit road. So we know they can make it at least 14 laps on 1 tank of fuel, but we know they cannot make it 23 laps because they even had to do green flag pit stops in yesterday's Pizza Hut X Series race. That was 18 laps long. So with that being said, my guess would be these drivers are going to be somewhere around maybe 14 to 15 laps on 1 tank of fuel, and they'll have to pit. Now the question is, they are now within the fuel window. If they decided to, they could come to pit road here within the next 2 or 3 laps, be good to go the rest of the way. Would they want to short pit and run to the end? Because keep in mind, we know there will be no caution flags coming out. Would they want to pit now, get their green flag pit stop done with, and then run it to the end of the race, run it to the checkers? Miles out in front. We're going to take the opportunity, since you guys have gotten the opportunity of being able to see who was involved in whatever is taking place during the course of this race. I was not privy to that. We're going to look and see who is officially out of the race at this point, if anybody. And no, nobody's out of the race. As a matter of fact, all 42 cars are still running on the lead lap. Last car, though, is last week's winner, Cody Llamas. So NW Racing right now, the 2 bookends of the field. Benjamin Miles showing the way. Cody Llamas, the caboose on the winding train around this road course. Saw some skid marks right there in the S's. Well, whatever that incident was, it has not taken anybody out of this race. Got 2 really good battles going on here. We got a battle back there for around the 8th position between Charles Sandfer and Zach Flickinger. We've also got this battle up here for 2nd between Jessica Shelton and Sean Gallighan. Shelton, former winner this season at Darlington, Currently 10th in the point standings, in really good shape for making what would be her second straight chase for the championship. I'm trying to remember if she was in the chase for the championship back in season 2. I can't seem to pull it. Yeah, I think she was. Yeah, it would be actually, she's en route to her third chase for the championship because she won at Darlington back in season 2. That got her into the chase. She won Daytona last season. That got her into the chase for season 3. So yeah, she's en route to being in her third straight Hershey's Cup Series chase for the championship. Sean Gallighan, on the other hand, Gallighan coming into this race is on a 54 race, no, not 54, I'm sorry, 53 race losing streak, winless streak. Hasn't been to victory lane since the season opening Daytona 500 back in season 3. And here comes Gallighan. Gets a run. He's going to try and make the move down here into the bus stop. We saw him drive through the grass before against somebody else. I think it was C Tsang, and he's going to do it again against Shelton, and it's going to work. Chris Dodd now side by side with Shelton. That's going to be for third place. So Sean Gallighan putting his race car where he wants to, and it is working out for him. He'll now move to second. Shelton now battling with Chris Dodd for third. And that wadded him up. Caitlin Sang, Matt Haas, Cole Baker starting to enter into that battle. And Caitlin Sang off the corner really wide again. Gets on that rumble strip. There's really big problem with the rumble strip. It serves two purposes, especially in the kind of track conditions we have here today. It helps to try and give you a little bit of a buffer from that wall off the final corner, but at the same time, it is really, really slick. Your tires spin, and that's why we've seen a number of drivers, Caitlin Sang in particular, when she gets up on that rumble strip off the final corner, she loses a lot of positions. I'll tell you a guy who's popped up here into the top 10. How about J Arndt? I mean, I keep singing the praises of this guy, but the reason being, you look back at his past history here in the Hershey's Cup Series, and it is mediocre at best. This is a career year for J Arndt. Went to victory lane for the first time in his Hershey's Cup Series career at Kansas. He finds himself currently second in the point standings coming into this race. He's got an opportunity right now because we don't really have D Poteet up here towards the front. I think that's him just exiting out of the carousel. There's a possibility that J Arndt could be leaving Watkins Glen as the points leader. I mean, this team has been really, really good. And not just J Arndt himself. Oh, Cole Baker in the wall on the final turn. Keeps it straight, though, but he's going to lose a lot of spots. But not just J Arndt, but AS Racing as a whole. You got Garrett Sydnor. He went to victory lane back at Bristol Dirt. Currently finds himself in the point standings at... Where is he? I'm just trying to find him here. He is 24th in the points. And J Baskinger is not having that bad a season. He's still trying to find victory lane for the first time this year. He's 13th in points. So all three of the AS Racing cars having really good seasons at this current point in time. Benjamin Miles, though, I mean, look at that. You can see Sean Gallighan back there, but he's a little pixel on the screen there as Miles is gone. He has checked out. Someone's smoking up ahead. Oh, look out. That's Phil Parker. Phil Parker, K Tellier just up ahead, the defending winner of this race. We had something happen, and Benjamin Miles going to have to make his way past these disabled machines. Looks like J Bryant as well involved, our winner this season from Dover. As K Tellier heads for pit lane, J Bryant does the same. And all depending on how much difficulty Sean Gallighan had getting around some of that traffic, like Phil Parker. Depends on how much of a gap was cut down between himself and Benjamin Miles, who had a little bit of difficulty getting around K Tellier as Tellier was trying to limp her Lincoln to the pit lane entrance. When are they going to have to pit? They're going to have to. This we know. There's no way they can make it 23 laps on one tank of fuel. They will have to pit in this race. And it looks like that gap between Benjamin Miles and Sean Gallighan may have stayed around status quo. Maybe Gallighan gained a little bit. The good news for Gallighan right now, though, is the battling's going on behind him with Shelton, Chris Dodd, Matt Haas, which allows Gallighan the opportunity to kind of concentrate more on reeling in Benjamin Miles rather than having to defend that second position. So we got to see, as these laps wind down, if that interval between the 25 and the 44 begins to dwindle at all. Gallighan came into this race 23rd in points. jumped up 6 spots after a good run last week at the dirt track of Springfield Mile. It was 3.25 seconds that Miles had in hand over Gallighan last time, and he grew it by another 4/10. So Miles is setting sail once again. I think when we update the ticker to see who's out of the race, I think we may see a couple of retirees now. K Tellier was smoking coming to pit road. Phil Parker was smoking coming to pit road. So we are guaranteed a different winner this season at the Glen. The defending winner of this race, K Tellier, appears will not be making it to the checkered flag. Benjamin Miles won the first stage, and he's about to complete the second stage of this race, putting us into our third and final stage. And it has been all the Napa Dodge Dart. And Benjamin Miles closed the deal here. His pit crew is going to have the pressure on them now, trying to continue to have him with that interval over Gallighan, and it looks like they're about to have that test right now. Benjamin Miles to pit road. Now the question is, where's his pit stall? Is it before the start-finish line? Because somebody could snatch those 10 bonus points away if they cross the line before he does. And somebody will! It was a drag race, and winning the second stage is going to be Matt Haas. J Arndt and Matt Haas with strategy staying out an extra lap. They drag race to the line, and Matt Haas, by about half a car length, got to the line, and he will win the second stage. J Arndt now goes to the race lead. Benjamin Miles will have to settle for 8 bonus points for this stage rather than 10. It's like Zachary Fitzwater has stayed out. D Poteet stayed out, the points leader coming into this race. And somebody else there, another car stayed out. Oh, it's G Sydnor in the 38. So they all stayed out. There's Kyle Mathews, Blaine Keys, Christian Merritt Jr., Anthony McCrury back here, and there's Benjamin Miles back out. And he got out ahead of Sean Gallighan. Gallighan's all by his lonesome though. Then a gap back to Shelton. Then a gap back to Chris Dodd, Z Flickinger, and T Walch. So now awaiting the remaining 5 drivers to come to pit road, and here they are. J Arndt is in, along with Matt Haas, Zachary Fitzwater, D Poteet, and G Sydnor. This is also important for J Arndt. He was able to lead a lap right there, and so that's a lap-led bonus point he gets that D Poteet does not have. Mentioned Poteet trying to hold off J Arndt for the points lead, and here comes Benjamin Miles around. He will go back to the top position, no doubt. We'll have to see what the gap is going to be between himself and Sean Gallighan. About 2.2 seconds? No. Nope, about 3 seconds. I was looking actually at G Sydnor when he crossed the line. It's like Cody Llamas will come out behind his teammate Benjamin Miles. Now Llamas is off the lead lap, but that's good news for Benjamin Miles because now Sean Gallighan has to deal with Miles' teammate before he can get up there and battle with the 25 for potentially the race win here at the Glen. Now that they have cycled around, made their pit stops, we'll actually wait until Benjamin Miles crosses the line to see what the top 10 looks like, and then we will give you a full field rundown if possible, as we will be crossing the line with a total of 7 laps to go here today at the Glen. Miles off the corner, and he will find himself back at the top of the leaderboard. We'll see what the gap is back to Gallighan. It was about 3 seconds last time, about 3.1 seconds this time, so maybe a little bit gained on the part of Benjamin Miles. Shelton crosses in 3rd, J Arndt now in 4th with Matt Haas 5th. Chris Dodd runs 6th, 7th Z Flickinger, T Walch in 8th, G Sydnor, that pit strategy worked out for him. He's up in 9th, and C Sandfer completes the top 10. Brooke Allen will be 11th, 12th place J Gardner. This is his home track here in New York. Cole Baker's 13th, 14th for Caitlin Tsang. Boy, she really has fallen back. She started on the pole. Levi McIntyre in 15th. Points leader coming to this race, Dylan Poteet 16th, with Joshua Michaels, James McCloud, Zachary Fitzwater dropped a long ways back to 19th. Being told they actually spent time repairing damage on that 76. That's why he's now just barely inside the top 20, with J Baskinger in the 20th position. 21st place, Cody Smart. Trent Dunham out of the race. He scored 22nd. He'll be further down than that when we cross the line this next time by. Christian Merrick Jr. is scored right now in 23rd, but he'll be 22nd. L Alvarise 23rd. Anthony McCrury 24th. 25th would be Nathan Hudson 26th. Kyle Mathews 27th place. Austin LaPlante, and 28th, Blaine Keys. He's the last car on the lead lap. 30th place right now, scored one lap down, is K Llamas. Keith Batson is a lap down in 31st, and then all these drivers are now out of the race due to the incidents that have taken place here today. K Tellier, Dallas McIntosh. Outside pole sitter Joseph Srigley will finish the day out in the 34th position. Charles Jackson, Phil Parker, J Bryant, Emmanuel Hartnett, Chloe Erickson, who finished second in the non-charter race here a couple days ago, 39th, 40th for Brandon Gonzales, Dylan Young, 41st, and Trace Williams, who was the last car to qualify into this race, finished 7th in the non-charter race here, will finish in last in the 42nd position. While he's not gaining by much, but Sean Gallighan is slowly chipping away by a couple thousandths each lap Benjamin Miles' lead, which means to me maybe Miles is maybe milking it a little bit more, trying to save his stuff. As stated, he has a teammate right behind him in K Llamas, who is right now the first car one lap down. So Gallighan would have to deal with Llamas before he'd have to deal with Miles. And you think back, I mean, Sean Gallighan and K Llamas had a little bit of a scuffle last week at Springfield Mile as well, so you gotta wonder if anything from that might come to light. As it's like up ahead is the 42 of Blaine Keys, last car on the lead lap. Don't know if Miles will encounter him before the checkered flag or not. He very well could. It's going to be 4 laps to go when he hits the line next time by. But to what I was stating, Gallighan, he is closing the gap, but it's not by much. I mean, the last time, he only closed it up by 100th. Needs to hope, potentially, that either K Llamas gets up there and decides to race with his teammate, or Benjamin Miles has some difficulty with traffic. But right now, that only traffic is the U.S. Army Chevrolet of Blaine Keys. Right now, Benjamin Miles has stated 12 points out of 30th in the standings, looking for his first win of the season. This could be huge for him. I mentioned Johnny Gardner, a New Yorkian. Well, this is also a home track to Benjamin Miles, so Miles would love to be able to pick up his first win of the season at his home track at the Glen. Benjamin Miles has actually been on Watkins Glen resurfaced in real life, so how cool would it be for him to actually pick up a win here at this racetrack? He's about to catch Blaine Keys. Might get him here in the carousel. If he can get him on the straightaway here, it'd be the best spot for him to be able to make the pass. And he actually opened up his gap between himself and Gallighan that last time by as well. Catching him here on the straightaway. Best bet would be to go to the inside. He will get there. So no trouble for Benjamin Miles to get around the 42, at least not yet. And he will clear him heading into the final corner. So nicely made pass by Benjamin Miles. There's another lap machine between himself and the 44 of Sean Gallighan. 3 to go. Let's look and see if we got any good battles for position going on here. This might be the best one. This is for 4th place. J Arndt in control of the spot. M Haas right there behind him. And then former champion J Dodd running in that 6th position. Trying to reel in J Shelton. Trying to get a podium spot. J Arndt, former winner this season at Kansas. M Haas, former winner this season at Talladega. J Dodd looking for his first win still since season 2. Jump back further here. T Walch, solid outing for him in 7th spot. And then we got a potential battle brewing here. Z Flickinger in 8th, but the battle for 9th is on. Charles Sandfer and rookie B Allan currently scored in that 10th position, trying to get by Sandfer. back up to the front here. You know, it's kind of interesting. Before last week, we only had a total of 3 non-Chevrolet drivers go to victory lane this season. Everybody else has been Chevys. Those 3 non-Chevy drivers were J.T. Bryant at Dover, Anthony McCrury in the Daytona 500. They were in Fords. And then Matt Haas in a Toyota at Talladega. Every other win was a Chevrolet driver. Well, last week we had Dodge Dart pick up their first win of the season with Cody Llamas, and looks like Dodge Dart may go back-to-back with the 2 NW Racing boys as Benjamin Miles continues to set his sights towards home. He will have to deal with Keith Batson here before we get to the checkered flag. Batson in the 39 currently scored a lap down. As a matter of fact, I think this would be a battle for position for Cody Llamas. No. This would actually put Keith Batson down 2 laps now to the race leader as Benjamin Miles going to jump up to the high side. Cody Llamas going to split it 3 wide. Look at that. Cody Llamas trying to get back onto the tail end of the lead lap. Almost put his teammate in a perilous position, but they made it work. So Benjamin Miles says, all right, you want to finish on the lead lap? Go ahead. White flag displayed one more time around. The gap between Miles and Gallighan, it cut down to about 2.5 seconds, but there's only a few more corners left to go, and Galligan's actually about to get a challenge from Jessica Shelton for the second position, as he had a little bit of difficulty getting around the slower car of Blaine Keys. So Benjamin Miles letting Cody Llamas on by, so Llamas will probably finish on the tail end of the lead lap. But Benjamin Miles, he won the first stage. He didn't quite win the second stage, but he finished third. So far, he's got 18 points accumulated. Looks like it'll be 28 bonus points coming the way of the 25 car. This will undoubtedly move him into the top 30 in the points. The question being the rest of the season, though, will he be able to stay up there? He does not want a repeat of last season. But how about NW Racing? Last week, it was Cody Llamas' first win of the season at Springfield Mile. 1 week later, they're going to follow it up with Benjamin Miles going to victory lane at his home track. First win of the season for Benjamin Miles. He will take the checkered flag here today at the Glen. And J Arndt got second. Matt Haas to third. Chris Dodd to fourth. Gallighan and Shelton, who at the beginning of that last lap were battling for second, find themselves finishing 5th and 6th as they had difficulty with Keith Batson on the final lap. But Benjamin Miles, 12 points back from 30th in the standings coming into this race. This may have very well just moved him up into the top 30 and maybe even bypassed him by L Alvarise. So I think as things would stand right now, Benjamin Miles with that win currently holds one of those 16 slots in the chase for the championship. It's not a confirmed slot, but right now it is currently in his possession. And J Arndt with that second place finish, I think, may have just jumped to the top of the point stands for the first time in his Hershey's Cup Series career. Standing should be official now, as I believe Cody Llamas, who was the last car on the lead lap, has crossed the line. We gave you down through 6th place Jessica Shelton, Tim Walsh 7th, Charles Sandfer 8th, 9th for Brooke Allen, and completing your top 10 is going to be Cole Baker in the 18 cars. So 2 of the Seth Cole Baker Motorsports cars finish in the top 10. 2 of the Retro Racing Enterprises cars finish in the top 10. And 2 of the Michael Norman Motorsports cars finish in the top 10 here today. Zach Flickinger will come away with 11th. Garrett Sydnor there in 12th. Johnny Gardner 13th with Levi McIntyre 14th and 15th Dylan Poteet. And the reason I say that J Arndt will more than likely take the points lead over Dylan Poteet, regardless of the fact he only finished 13 spots ahead of Poteet, and Poteet came in with a 14-point lead, is the fact I don't think I saw Dylan Poteet's number up inside the completions of stage 1 and 3. He did finish, I think it was 5th Well, actually, no, I think it was about 8th or 9th in Stage 2, but he did not get stage points in Stage 1 or 2. J Arndt, on the other hand, did. So J Arndt, I believe, is going to take the points lead heading into next week. J McCloud going to finish 16th in today's race. Baskinger 17th, 18th for Joshua Michaels. How about Cody Smart, Christian Merrick Jr., a couple of the non-charter boys going to finish up there inside of the top 20. Talked about L Alvarise coming in that critical 30th spot in the points. 21st is where he will finish out the day. You look on down through the remainder of the finishing results, and there you see drivers that finished out of the race. Looks like Zachary Fitzwater's team called it a day near the closing stages of this race. Tough break there for the 76. He was up inside the top 10 the early portion of today's event. And you see all the other drivers that finished out of the race. Trent Dunham, K Tellier, defending winner of this race, no longer. Dallas McIntosh, Joseph Srigley, Jackson, Parker, Bryant, Hartnett, Erickson, Gonzales, Young, and Trace Williams. Well, this will definitely shake the point standings up, and we're about to head to a track that's going to shake them up even more. You enjoy this road course racing? Well, you're going to love where we're going next week because it's back on the schedule. Thornton Raceway makes its return, and we are going to be having our Hershey's Cup Series charter race there as the non-charter series for the Hershey's Cup Series as well as the Pizza Hut X Series will be taking an off week. But it's getting down to the nitty-gritty. We're starting to formulate a picture of who could potentially be the 16 drivers in the chase for the championship. There's still a long ways to go, though. We've still got another 7 races before we find out who the official 16 drivers are going to be. We got a general idea of some drivers, but a lot of drivers still have the opportunity to put their name in the ring for a potential spot to battle for this season's championship. But thank you everybody so much for watching today's race from the Glen. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, and become part of the crew today. We've shown your full finishing results. Up next, it's your rookie point standings as well as your overall points. We will see you guys next week for an extravaganza like no other at Thornton, as you've been watching production of the NNSCRA, offline racing at its best.